Let me show you a little bit of what we got going on in this garden. Some of it's hard to see, but I'm going to show you how we water our garden. We've been gardening for, at least 7 years. Both of us have gardened a little bit growing up too. One thing I have found though, gardening in Idaho, is one of the hardest things is watering. We are pretty dry here. We get about 13 inches in a year of rain, and that's not a lot. So if you're somewhere where it rains a lot more, then you may not need to go this drastic with it, but this is what we do because it saves us a lot of time and effort and money in the end. We don't have to run sprinklers as long, and we save a lot of water. Where water is pretty scarce around here, this really saves us. So we put in drip tape. You can see down here, along the bottom there's a black line. Water line goes all the way down that fence line. We have on there are valves every few feet. They're 3 foot apart. There's a valve there. Every 3 feet we put valves. That's how far apart we plant our rows, is 3 feet. We can control each individual line. So if something has a shorter growing season and we're done with it, we can just turn the water off on that spot there. Because this garden's so big, we probably won't be able to water all of it at once. We'll have to do it in sections, so that way we can turn off the different sections as well. But we can just switch those valves real quick and it makes it super easy. And then from there, we got that line we got running down this way. There's a strip of what they call drip tape that runs all the way up down the whole length of that garden. And so I don't know how many we've even got right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We've got 16 rows right now, and then with that section that we're adding down there, we're going to add probably another 10 rows or so. We'll get those in as we start to plant. We don't have all the valves in there yet, or the tape down there. We actually had this up. I knew I was going to expand this garden last year, and so I made it a little bit longer, but I didn't put all the valves in. And when we put those cows in over there on the end of that garden, we just pulled that back so we could fence off a section there. They eventually ended up pushing through that fence. It was just an electric fence. That's why I like to put in this metal fence. The cows, they'll push through an electric fence sometimes, especially in the winter here. The snow gets really deep and it can short out that fence, and so they pushed through it and they got in and they chewed up a bunch of this plastic, so we're gonna have to replace some of it this year, but we shouldn't have to do that much anymore after this year because we won't have cows in here. Hey, it's early in the morning. Everybody's still sleeping, so kind of trying to sneak around. We were up pretty late last night, so we're trying to let the kids sleep in a little bit, but I just wanted to show you one thing that we found we're kind of excited about. So when we first moved in, about 1.5 years ago, shortly after we moved in, we're down in the furnace room here. I was looking around at some of the plumbing, and I found this. You can see right there. Get that to refocus right there. There's a little valve that I found. and that line, that water line, just runs straight out of the house. It goes just right through the foundation and disappears. And so I turned the water on there, and sure enough, I can hear the water flowing, but I couldn't figure out where the water was going to. And so I just kind of noted that and figured we'd follow that line later and find out where it goes to. So let me go show you what we found. So for about the last year, our project has been to get most of our property cleaned up, get the garbage off of it. Here's Gary. Hi, Gary. Hi, Gary. So we've been trying to clean up a lot of the garbage. We hauled off a full 20-foot trailer full of garbage last year, just piled as high as we could get it. This spring we've been picking up a lot of garbage. You can see there's our pile. That's just from the spring. We were up kind of late planting some in the garden. We were excited because we finally got the fence finished, so we wanted to get some stuff in the ground. We're a little bit later than we normally would be getting it planted, so we were kind of jumping into that. And then as we wrapped up some of the planting last night, we just started picking up a little bit of garbage. Andrea was joking and she was like, "It's like a treasure hunt in here. See if we'll find some treasure." And so, let me show you what we found. Right here, I've noticed this thing sticking out of the ground. Where are you at? This pipe right there, sticking out of the ground. For months I've seen that. I mean, all last year I saw it, and it was only the last little 6 inches or so that were sticking out of the ground. Well, I was grabbing a pull on that one and it wouldn't budge. So I pulled out a shovel and I started digging, and I was digging and digging and digging, following that down, and I got this big old hole, and I couldn't find the end of it. And that's when it hit me. It's like that valve. I forgot about that valve. We have a water line that runs from the house. You see it cleared out back there. Runs from the house all the way out here. That's probably about 150 feet, 200 feet there. I'm gonna put a tank, a permanent tank out here that I can fill anytime with this water line. So that's gonna be a big project, but that is the exciting thing that we found out here. Here's some more garbage. This kind of stuff is everywhere. But I wanted to show you guys that because we're excited about it. That's going to be a life changer for us. I mean, I was eventually going to put that water line in, but that was probably going to be in 5 years or so. Our treasure hunt paid off. We did find treasure. I'll bring you back and show you what we've been doing on the garden. So we got everything fenced in here. And we have planted potatoes. You can see those 2 rows that are wet. They're the only wet ones because, once again, we've got the valves. I can turn those valves on and off. Water those 2, leave the other ones dry. And then down here, we've got some peas. And then in the grass, you can kind of see them sticking up as some raspberries. We planted those. Those are starts from last year. They did okay through the winter. Not as good as I'd hoped, but it looked like they're going to survive. So hopefully they're good and established now, and we'll start getting some good raspberries off of those. Well, it looks like it's starting to rain, so we will head back in, but that is our exciting news for this morning. We've got water out here. That's awesome. All right, it's Saturday morning. Saturdays are the days we get a lot of our stuff done. This morning I gotta first untangle Gary, and then gonna let the chickens out, feed some pigs real fast, and then I gotta get pick up some junk out of it and hook up the trailer. We're gonna go pick up the cows that are still up to the breeders, but we gotta pick them up today. They're all done, so we will get them back today. That's what we're gonna do this morning though. Let's go find Gary. Alright, we just finished planting all of our early crops. We get a fairly late frost here, and so we can't plant everything super early. Last year we actually got a frost in the middle of June, which killed most of our garden. We had to replant a lot of it. So a lot of stuff can't be planted until after Memorial Day, or right around that period. We might plant a little bit earlier if the forecast is looking good, but we got all of our early stuff in, so you can kind of see there what we got going on. A few of those are running, a few rows going, so that will be the last of the garden planting for a couple weeks. In about 2-3 weeks we'll get back out and we'll plant some more.